And we're back.
We're back.
I've missed. Yep. Sometimes I can think of something to say when I hit the record button, but that time it didn't happen. Can you help me? Can you help me?
I didn't know we were starting the podcast.
Hold on. Let me just roll it. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh boy, Mondays. Am I right? Oh man, I got.
That's much better. That's a much better opening. Do the Garfield. I hate Mondays.
Yeah.
John, I hate Mondays. John, where's my lasagna, John?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I can try again.
No, leave that one in.
Boy.
We're rolling. It's already done.
I sure do have a pimple in the middle of my forehead. Look at it. The whole episode's right there. Tune into the video version on YouTube. Just YouTube side pull. You can hang out with the people in the YouTube comments who say that they like watching the YouTube video, which after I called them out was a lot of people last week. So congrats on proving me wrong.
People like being talked about and responding.
They're like, that's me. I'm going to prove him wrong right now. I'm like, cool. Like I appreciate the engagement. Good for the numbers. Anywho, how was your week?
My week was good. My week has been very chill. I've been doing absolutely jack diddly squat since I came back from Romania. Mostly because I'm just like, fuck doing anything else.
Sounds like a good thing.
I think I spent the entire week playing Dota and streaming and watching the CSGO Major, actually, is one of the things that I was doing more of, for sure.
I know you were watching the CSGO Major because the amount of DMs that I got from you in regards to, man, you're going to think this production snafu's funny, huh? Was like a half dozen, which is more than we normally communicate about esports events, so...
It was a lot. We talked about this last time on the podcast, some of the CSGO major issues that PGL was having, but ultimately they I don't think really had any problems the last 2 days, and that's what esports is all about. As long as the finals is good, Who cares?
Exactly. And the finals, by most accounts, was pretty good. It's fun to see. I was happy to see Simple finally win a championship. Storylines. I wonder what percent of the audience crosses over with any amount of interest in Counter-Strike. Because I know that like the Venn diagram with like Dota and Counter-Strike is actually like a wee bit bigger than Dota and other esports. So I imagine there's probably a percentage of people who would be like, man, I got Counter-Strike opinions. I like that game. I played that game. But I'm assuming that the majority of people want me to shut the fuck up.
I mean, there's, I think in my Discord, which is also the Side Pole Podcast Discord, which you can go ahead and join in the link below on YouTube. If it's on Spotify, just come into my Twitch channel and do... !Discord. Join the Discord. And because we were actually having a lot of conversations about the CSGO Major. So I think there are actually a fair number of people who actually watch CSGO. Honestly, like esports in general, if you're just an esports fan, you probably have watched some CSGO. In my opinion, it's like... it is the greatest esport with the greatest broad appeal. Dota obviously is the greatest esport, but obviously we do not appeal to the general audience because you watch what's on the screen and there's a bunch of wizards and talking trees and there's flashing lights everywhere and big explosions and you don't know what the fuck is going on. Whereas CSGO, you can, it's pretty intuitive, bang bang, guy shot other guy in head. Very good. So yeah.
I think that's still make the case when I think about that. I really also put Street Fighter up there with Counter-Strike because I think that there's a good case to be made for each of them. I personally have a preference and think that Counter-Strike is the best, but it's so easy to show anybody a good Street Fighter match and they just understand what's going on. It is like the lowest common denominator greatness of esports.
Can we pause real quick? Hold on. Okay.
I can never do what that person does. I can never I
Did you
could
hear that?
never ever do what that person does. I don't know how or if I'm going to edit that together. I'm not going to include what just happened. I guess I could say that you were just solicited for signatures and it came through.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want to talk about it. I'll talk about what just happened.
Okay, hold on. Street Fighter, phenomenal. Let's get to this real quick. I could never door knock, first and foremost. Second, I could never be that like aggressive. My understanding of what just happened is you just got door knocked in your apartment building, which is like
Yes.
in a residential
already.
area. That's weird already. That is absurd, I think. Like it's generally like not a solicited area for two different things that people are collecting signatures for. And you were very polite.
I was but I was also a little vindictive. Right? Because the thing is he knocked and then, or he rang the doorbell and then he knocked and then I heard him call say my name, and I was just like, all right, this is over the top. And so I was actually kind of mad. I thought it was actually package delivery that I needed to sign for. And so when I realized it wasn't a package delivery.
Did you know the person?
No.
How do they know your name?
I did not. I have no idea. Probably because I have donated to certain causes, and so my name is probably out there on a registry somewhere. So, yeah. So, that motherfucker. So here's how it goes. I think it's a package delivery that needs my signature. I realize it's not. I get mad. He starts soliciting me for a signature for a good cause. I get less mad. I'm like, okay, he's just, one of those like door worker guys who's trying to get signatures for certain things. And I say no to the first one because I'm vindictive. I was just like, he starts trying to explain it. It's something about a hotel coming into my area and affordable housing or something like that. But it's going to need a big, long spiel. And I'm like, no. And then he's like, well, I've got this other one that we're trying to raise minimum wage. And I was like, I'll sign that one. I was like, all right, good cause, but I'm also going to be vindictive at the same time. I don't know why.
I was hoping for you to go, excuse me, sir, I'm recording a podcast right now.
I always tell people I'm in a meeting. Whenever I'm streaming or the very rare times, we record this late. So it's very rare that anybody interrupts us recording the podcast.
DoorDash, maybe.
I always say I'm in a meeting. Because it's way more grown up sounding than whatever the hell a podcast is,
God, I went on a date a couple weeks ago, and I ended up roundabout talking about that I have a couple podcasts, and I hate that I was like baited into that question. I was like baited
How did
into
you
the
get
question.
baited into that question, Joey? How did you get baited into that?
Because this lovely female did her due diligence and just Googled my name. And I felt like I was doing an interview. They're like, so, what, like, you do? So, like, I know about games, and my brother plays League of Legends, so, like, I've heard about Dota. But, like, so you do, like, a Dota podcast, and it has like, a lot of reviews on Apple. So, are you, like, are you, like a celebrity? Like, are you good at talking? And I'm like, I'm like, I would hope that our conversation would lead you on to the point that, one, not a celebrity, two, decent at talking but generally bad at talking, and three, like, no one wants to talk about how they have a video game podcast on a first date. Like you are judging me. I don't know if it's good, I don't know if it's bad, but like you have thoughts in your head right now that like I don't want, like that's like fourth date conversation. That's like this person I have a feel of. But I got quizzed on side poll first date.
You know she's gonna end up, if you go on a second date, she will check out this episode of the podcast for 100%. She's gonna check out the podcast and see what you're like, and she's gonna see whether or not she likes the podcast, and like it's a good tell of like your sense of humor and things like that, and that's happening now. So
I didn't even think about that. There's a non-zero chances to get published, and they're gonna listen to it.
Yeah. So how did the date go?
Maybe I should edit that. It was fine.
I mean, you're going to talk about your life. Was she expecting anything different?
It was
fine. It was fine. Okay.
It was fine. There was better conversation than I've had on other dates, which is important to me because I think that regardless of a lot of general traits, something that I'm interested in spending time with is somebody who can like just have good conversations.
Okay.
And that sounds so. I heard those words come out of my mouth, and I went, "Joey, you basic motherfucker." That sounds so. Milk
I just want somebody I can talk to and laugh with.
Yes. Thank you.
I also like walks on the beach.
I like someone who's just gonna like understand me and like knows like what's going on. No, like I would say above average conversation. Like if the median's a 5, it was like 7 or 8. So that is that's a check mark positive in my book.
Okay, so possible second date in the future where you're gonna talk about the fact that you did a podcast episode where you talked about your date.
Yeah, I'll have to really be calculated about that one. The longer I wait, the harder it'll be to find it, and it'll have to take more effort to find it. So maybe I'll just delay a couple weeks. We can definitely move past that before I really shove my foot in my mouth anymore. What was I going to talk about? I don't like rosters, major, DOTA.
Rosters are all bullshit.
So,
all right, if you guys are interested in DOTA stuff right now, you want to fiend some like roster drama, you can go ahead and check out Dan has a new podcast that he's doing that is specifically for roster drama. I haven't checked it out, but I'm sure it's good. Dan's podcasts are always good.
I agree. I was thinking about this actually before we started. I was thinking about why. So there's probably some people who are interested in our opinion on some of that stuff. But my gut feeling is much similar to what you just said of like, there's probably other people talking about rosters in better ways that are more exciting and like more analytical than us being buffoons with each other. So like, we
also have inside knowledge. So like I can't do a podcast about like roster stuff because there's constant landmines everywhere. Cause I'm not going to be that guy. If I was a journalist, sure, I would be that guy. I'd waz it up, and I'd be on Twitter dropping every single roster that I know. But, I can't. So until the rosters are mostly out and public, as of right now, we literally just have like the most recent news was that Sumail and Saksa are not going to be on OG. So it's looking like OG is pretty lackluster on players right now. They're really missing a lot of people. There's a lot of rumors going on, which I'm not going to comment on because, again, landmines. So it's, hopefully next week we'll actually get some confirmation on what rosters are, and that'll be super hype. But
if I had to
that
guess,
point in time,
I had to guess, I would say that you and I are probably 2 weeks out from having a like interesting conversation about some of the changes. But until then, I'm in a similar situation as you, where like I know stuff and I don't want to be the person who's like, I know that Dan knows stuff. He's trying really hard to not leak stuff. Dan claims to know what the Team Liquid roster is, and I'm confident he doesn't. And if you're listening to this, Dan, I know you don't. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I see you talking in Discord that you knew who the roster is.
I think the Liquid roster has been kept pretty well secret.
No one knows. No one knows who is leaving. No one.
All
we
know
is
has actually
talked
talked about this while we were streaming. He did intentionally leak false information to find potential leaks. So he's real careful with that. Mm-hmm. So. Remember when Dendy did that? Dendy leaked I think it was maybe before Bait, and he leaked that he was going to like 3 different organizations, and like one of the leaks went through, and now he knows like one of his friends couldn't be trusted. And he tweeted out about that. Dude, that Dendy's so fucking good, man. I only wish he was actually good in Dota. He's so good for the Dota scene, but he's just not the same player he once was. It's sad.
It's important to have ambassadors. Like I love. Yeah, I'm sure that having Dendy on that broadcast for the CIS scene is phenomenal, right? Like, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
And he's an amazing human being. He's like the kind of person you want to be an ambassador because you're proud of him representing like you in some way. It's great. I love Dendy. I love all my interactions with him.
Much like how I'm so proud of ZAI'S representing Team Liquid. Roster conversation over.
Yeah, Liquid has 6 players right now. Very interesting.
It's pretty dank. It's pretty dank if you ask me.
So
they did with Counter-Strike. Yeah. What else?
Instead of talking Dota, we can we can talk about Pub Dota. Marcy's a piece of shit.
Still?
I fucking hate that hero.
Still.
Ah, God, she's so fucking obnoxious. She's so strong. End of pub conversation. We already had that conversation last week. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, she needs to get nerfed again. Please.
Okay, you know what's interesting? Interesting? You said something that kind of like perked my interest earlier about how journalists in air quotes like are part of their job is to like talk about and leak rosters and create news and stir dramas.
Yeah.
Boy, have I learned is that crazy in the League of Legends world. Holy moly. There's people whose entire careers are based on like their connections and what information they're leaking about what rosters, and it is brutal. I have never realized like what is the opposite of airtight? Because that is what League of Legends like roster shuffles are. I feel like there's nothing that's kept secret. It's just people like muckraking and slinging dirt. And in comparison, a lot of people don't know what's going on with Dota teams. Also, a lot of stuff I don't think settled. But like the league world is just it is so night and day that it's interesting for me to look at it from like a insider-ish perspective and compare them one to one.
Yeah, the leaks that happen in League of Legends are like professional journalists who their job is to create articles that draw attention. The leaks in Dota are like high-level pro players who go on an anonymous fucking Reddit and just leak information for karma. I don't know why why don't these guys just... You can actually profit from these leaks that if you know a team, you can actually, sell this information to news sites to generate clicks. Like, you could do that. Mm-hmm. But instead, you just do it for free for Reddit karma on an anonymous account. I don't understand the point.
I don't know, man. I wonder.
Stop feeling important and start getting paid, dog.
I wonder if part of it, from like a pro player's perspective, is if like there's bad acting involved, like you're intentionally trying to sabotage people, or like increase your own fortunes by being a little leaky boy.
Mm,
or if they're just people
I
who
don't
just like to
know.
be hype beasts and drama fiends.
I honestly don't think Dota players are good at negotiating enough to think of something that political. I think Dota players are like single-mindedly focused on winning TI, and there is very few Dota players who think otherwise. Like I think there are a lot of teams, a lot of players who would take a really shit salary for a better chance at winning TI, and of course you would, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Like TI is literally life changing. Like if you increase your odds by 10% of being able to make millions of dollars, you'll take a shitty salary all day. It's just
You got to
that's what TI
believe.
does to landscape.
You
Yeah.
got to believe in yourself for that. Like there has to be a lot of self confidence because I'm sure
Yeah.
that the other end of the spectrum does exist where people are more comfortable with the security of a higher salary and less interested in like first place TI. Like both ends of that
I
spectrum
think that
has to
exists.
exist.
I think that exists, but I think that it is something that, for the most part, because if you valued that much, would you really be a pro Dota 2 gamer, right? I feel like there are very few people who go into professional Dota 2 playing and value consistency and stability in their lives. I think maybe some of them grow older and develop that and mature in that regard, and place more value in this stability and consistency as they age. But I think for it's very, very few people that I can think of that I would look at that I have a read of and say like, oh, that person actually that person's not necessarily working to like all in win TI, but they're actually trying to build something for their life. You know?
Okay. Pointless stupid thought experiment. You take
Uh-huh.
you take every player who played in the DPC last year. You anonymously ask them if they play Dota because it is fun and they love Dota or because they have grandeur of TI. What's the percentage breakdown of the answers?
They have to pick one.
They have to pick one.
Can I throw a third answer in there?
That makes the math harder, but sure. Nothing matters.
Addiction. Instead of fun, can we say addiction?
Yeah, not all
Yeah.
addictions are fun. I would argue most addictions
No.
aren't fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Dota is probably a slightly more fun addiction.
Yes.
But I do think it's a very fun addiction for those guys who are getting paid for it. Not so fun when you're tier two, tier three, and you're still trying to grind it out and still have a dream of making it to TI and stuff like that. And the years are going by and you don't have a whole lot in your savings account. Or you do have a whole lot in your savings account, but that number is getting smaller, right? Maybe you had a big win at one point in time. Maybe you banked a few $100,000,
But
but
now you're 30.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you're getting closer to 30 and you're like,
Hmm.
what am I going to do for the next 40 years?
Yep. Yep. And I think there are some pro players who just naturally turn to talent as a result, but don't necessarily have the passion for it. It's just kind of like one of those things where like, well, I mean that's next, right? I've developed these Dota pro playing skills where like what value is there in them if I'm not actually playing Dota? Coaching and talent. It's kind of it. Maybe there's some side on the esports like team organization or something like that. Maybe there's a spot for you there as maybe a manager, maybe like more like a higher up that helps like put players together for a team in the first place. But it's very, very few positions, I would say.
Yeah, I'm always interested in esport athlete exit strategy, but I mean, I guess that's the same thing. It's like I'm also morbidly interested in like NFL player exit strategy because
Oh yeah,
it's
especially the workhorses of like NFL who aren't necessarily getting paid like the millions,
yeah.
they're just getting paid several hundred thousand, but they've only got like a 2 or 3 year lifespan or something. It's Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with that money. Gotta invest. Not throw away all your money on a shit coin.
I'm doing
All
fine.
right, I gotta talk about this. I gotta fucking talk about this. Did you know? All right, I like Siori a lot. All right, I think he is a very interesting character. I value people who are, for lack of another word, like weird, eccentric, right?
Hmm.
I think that like those kind of people, I like having them in my life. I think they spice things up quite a bit. So I appreciate Andrew's friendship for that. And I actually did not I did not really feel too many mocking sentiments when he went over to Axie and crypto. That whole thing, like he believes in it, and it seems like it's doing well. Good for him. Uh, but this one, I'm sorry, Ziori. This one is a step too fucking far. His dreadlock NFT, bro. What is that? I mean, he's selling them, and he's getting. I think they all sell for have been selling for a minimum of 1 ETH, which I think all of them are probably sold for that. Because there's not a whole lot of people, but I think he sold like 5 of them. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Ziori's Twitter. He will have retweeted somebody who has bought one, and you can check out the NFT. Dude, the GIF, the image. It's
Are you buying a
it's
single dread?
disgusting. You're buying a single dread. Wait. You haven't seen this? Let me
I,
get your live reaction to this. All right. Click this link. Play this little video
I got to open it up on my phone.
and and tell it's so gross, man. Like I don't know what the hell. He sold 6. He sold 6 of them.
They're not
6
even.
F. Right now, that's like $4,500 each. Like again, God bless him. Like get that bag, but like, oh my god,
There,
what the fuck,
there's
dude?
different rarity levels of dreadlocks.
I I guess. Oh yeah, I guess the one I linked, including the first Mystic Dread. Oh shit, does this
All of
one
them are
look
going
different?
to great owners that appreciate the future benefits
Oh.
of this founder token.
Oh, this one has a ring in it and it's flashy.
It looks like a piece of poop.
Dude, doesn't it? It looks like this disgusting wriggling gray worm. Like, why did they make it like that? Oh my god.
I look, I don't like to tear people down. I think that a lot of my humor comes from a place that could be considered bullying traditionally, because I think
Uh-huh.
it's really easy to make jokes at other people's expense, and I'm trying to get better at this. I'm trying to run through in my head what is cool about this, and I'm coming up short. It's
Listen, I'm gonna make fun of Ziori for it because 1, he's my friend, but 2, he's also made over $24,000 selling this. Like, I feel like when you make that much money, you can take a little shit for it, you know? Are these gonna have any value in 2 years' time? I don't know.
what if they go?
I mean, it's entirely dependent on Ziori's brand, I guess. If he really blows up and Axie really blows up, then maybe it does continue to hold value. But whew.
I wish the dreads had a little bit better of a 3D model.
That's dude. Me too, man. Like, come on, it can't be worth that much money and look that bad. Wait, why does it look like a worm?
I
Why does it look like a parasite
I don't.
that's lodged in your intestine? Oh,
I'm gonna be
God.
honest. The first thing that I just did is I messaged Tsunami and I said, "Do you know about this? Also, why haven't you told me?" Oh man,
So there you go.
fuck. I can recover from that. I don't know. I don't know how to recover from that.
That's fine. We'll swerve into the big topic that I want to get into anyway for this podcast. It's not Dota related at all. It's CS:GO related. We talked about the major happening, and I'm not good enough at CS:GO. I only watch the game. I've never played the game. I enjoy watching it quite a bit. But my opinions on the major and that sort of thing don't matter. What my opinion may have some relevance is the CS:GO Major talent drama. So I've been linking you this. I don't know how much you've been following, but I've just been dumping links on you so I can go ahead and reference them for the podcast.
So I've been mildly following in the sense that I find it interesting from a production and like a broadcast, like a talent standpoint, and then like compound that with just the general like tech issues the PGL Major had, which I know we touched on that, but there's a specific thing that we're referencing here, which is talent being outspoken about their position in an event during an event. And a position being
Yes.
like what their broadcast role is, be it like an analyst or like a grand finals caster, or like what they're slotted in to do, their job during the broadcast. So that's kind of the easiest way to tee it up, right? But what are like the specifics that people found to be a little bit interesting here?
Okay, so the CSGO Major, this is the first major that has happened in 2 years. It was also the first esports event, or at least really big one, that had an audience, right? Worlds didn't have one, TI didn't have one, CSGO Major did, which, side note, was wild to watch because there's just fans clustering together. Nobody's wearing a mask. It was a sight to behold. But that aside, so there was a lot of hype for this event. Plus, it's CS:GO, as I was talking about before. The general appeal, it's easy to pick up. A lot of esports fans and talent and players, like most of them are aware of CS:GO, and I think watch some CS:GO. I think again, that's why I say it has like this broader appeal.
Mm-hmm.
And this major, PGL hired. They didn't hire all of the talent that had been working for the last 2 years over this COVID. One particularly a favorite duo of mine that was missing was Hugo and Harry. I think that Hugo especially, I think is just a great caster, and Harry is like a really nice color commentator. I can't speak to his analysis because I don't know enough about CS:GO, but they form a really nice pairing, and I think they're one of the better pairings in CS:GO right now. They didn't hire a lot of those people who are grinding out all these online matches. They hired basically the kind of old guard that I would. They hired the legendary casters, the legendary casting duo. So it would be Anderson Semler. Right now, the recent really hyped duo right now is Machine and Sponge, which you guys should know Machine at least from TI8, where he did like losers interviews and hosting and stuff like that. There is Sadakist and Moses. So Sadakist has been kind of coming back, and DDK and Bardolph. And DDK, who's been on the Valorant side of things, recently came back to CSGO. Bardolph has stayed in CSGO.
Mm-hmm.
So the that was their four commentating duos. And group stage goes around. That happens. Messy production, but that happens. Playoff starts. And in CSGO, it is single elimination for playoffs. So with an 18 playoffs, that means there are 4 quarterfinals, as is the name quarter, 2 semifinals, and a grand
You just
final.
blew
There
someone's
is no,
mind. At least one person just went, "Holy shit!" So
That's why they call them quarterfinals. It's 1 of 4. There is no double elimination, so there is no lower bracket final or anything like that. Which leaves limited space for the matches and who gets what, right? With double elimination, there's a lot of work going on in playoffs for talent, and everybody usually gets a pretty hype match. I mean, if you just think about it, the top three matches, upper bracket final, grand final, and lower bracket final, those are all like really hype matches to get. So that means like three duos get something really cool. And the quarterfinals happen. And before DDK and Bardolph, who do the last series of the night of the quarterfinals, I believe, Bardolph puts out a tweet, quote tweeting a random fan. This random fan basically saying, "Oh, I really hope Bardolph, does this signature line in the arena and stuff." And Bardolph says, "Not gonna happen. We got fucked out of doing any semi at this event by some of our colleagues, as you will see. 1 out of 7 games, and we are done with 3 duos here. The old boy club wins. Fuck what the people want to see. Have a nice day." Little bit extra context to this. 3 duos. There was 4 duos. Sadakist did. I mean, I think this is pretty crazy, a little irresponsible. But he did not renew his passport before he went. And so during the time that he was there between Romania and then they eventually traveled to Sweden for the playoffs, he was in that 6-month territory where it was 6 months until his passport runs out. And so he actually got denied going to Sweden and had to go back to Canada to renew his passport. So 4 duos became
I have to renew
3.
my passport. Hold on, I'm gonna take a note of this real quick.
Yeah, do that before you do any international travel. If it's like anywhere close to being 6 months out, don't take that risk, man.
Thank you. Just made a note. Okay, sorry. Go on. So we're down to 3 duos because someone didn't do their paperwork properly.
Yes, 3 duos and Moses. Moses doesn't have his casting partner.
Moses had a shit year.
Yeah. Bardolph puts out this tweet. They do the quarterfinals. They wrap up the quarterfinals. Bardolph does the throw at the end of the quarterfinals back to Richard Lewis and the Old Boys Club. I don't think this is a reference to the people specifically on the panel. I think people were a little bit missing the point there. He's just generally making an Old Boys Club joke, reference, whatever you want to call it. Which on the broadcast, I would say is pretty unprofessional. No matter what your personal feelings are, I would say that already is going. If you want to tweet out on social media, like I wouldn't do that. I specifically didn't tweet out anything about me having COVID during TI and stuff like that because I didn't want to put a shadow on the event in any way. But social media is just different from the broadcast itself. To do it on the broadcast, I think is unprofessional.
If you're doing either version of that, at least me and my producer brain is flagging you as a potential problem. Like, regardless of your opinions being right or wrong, you have to play the politics. And the politics are to not do that.
Yeah. So, that happens. Obviously, a lot of, Reddit threads are made about it. There's all of this interest because all of a sudden there's fresh drama in the air. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, ooh, what is this? Talent drama. Very interesting. And there are a couple tweets to follow it up. I think Pansy put it on a tweet. It's crazy to think that people actually thought all talent were best pals and everything was all fair game and skill-based choices. Guess people really are naive. Which, I thought was interesting because, that's how I viewed the Dota talent scene. I think we're all pretty good friends, and we all get along. I think we're pretty gracious to each other. I don't think there's a whole lot of real competitive harshness. I mean, between me and Owen, I think we don't care too much about whether or not we get grand finals. I'm okay with Owen just being, the de facto number 1 play-by-play. I try and compete with him, but if he gets grand finals, doesn't bother me. The one thing that I see frequently said is that if you don't work, you don't get paid. That should not be true. I can't guarantee that it's not true, but that should not be true because most of the time these schedules are made uh, the day before,
Yeah.
maybe a couple days before. They hire you for the full event, and you quote them for the full event. If you don't end up working the final day or the final 2 days, well, too bad. You have me here. You
Or
can make me do something, but
yeah.
I'm getting paid.
Or that's a really bad negotiation. I'm sure that that's probably not a blanket statement for everybody, but like almost always that should be the case. Some people might not
Yes, and I
negotiate
would say
well.
somebody like Bardolph, who is works for Face It and is tied into talent negotiation. I would say there's almost no way that he would screw himself out of money like that. So uh, that bit of anger is not about. I think it's not about not getting paid. I think this is entirely disappointment and pride and things that I totally understand because every talent goes through these things. Would you get cut out of an event that you feel like you should have been invited? Like, TI7. I always go back to that. They hired me for group stage and they didn't hire me for main stage, and I understood why, but that still did not stop me from being a little bit bitter and a little bit upset. I try to keep it out of like social media and stuff like that. It makes no sense whatsoever to like actively be antagonistic to the tournament organizer, who in that case would be Valve. It's pointless. You're doing it for your own ego and pride and your wounded ego, really, is what it is, and you want the general fans to console you and to be outraged for you. Um, it
Which does
it
feel
feels good,
good
but it
in the
doesn't.
moment.
It does.
Yeah.
It feels great. It
Yeah.
feels great. It helps a lot, but it's bad career move.
I wonder, like if you try an armchair psychology and take a level back, like is this someone who is like a bit irrational and has like an ounce of a short fuse, because this is like I've been upset for 10 minutes. Let's take to Twitter and set the world on fire, or is this like a boiling over, or is this
Well,
a
he tweeted
boiling?
it before. He tweeted it before the quarterfinals, and then he did the old boys club line after they had finished the quarterfinals to go back to the desk. He put out more tweets about it after that fact. I think this is not a short fuse. I think this is a long-standing rivalry and competition between the CS:GO talent, and I've heard this before that they are not super friendly and stuff like that, like the Dota side is. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because that
I
that
think
would mean you would have to be friendly with Richard Lewis, and if you're friendly with Richard Lewis, you're probably an idiot. So
well, I will talk about Richard Lewis in a second here because I actually think he had the best take of anybody in this situation. I think
did hell freeze
Scoots.
over?
Sir Scoots responded to Bardolph, and he said, "Anytime talent feel entitled to something, they should put it in their contract in advance. If you feel like you should do a semi or a final, have them put it in writing, or don't book the event. Otherwise, you do with the matches they tell you, not the ones you want." And I think that's a relatively good take. I think putting semis or finals into contracts is a little bit difficult. I only know of one commentator in Dota who did that, and that was Toby. I think he at least once or twice had it negotiated where he was going to do the final. I don't know of anybody else who's done something like that. Generally speaking, I think, yeah, if you feel that strongly about it, I think it's something you can negotiate into your contract. But I
And then
think
you
it's
should hide it.
sometimes a little
Yeah.
difficult.
And then
Yeah,
you should not let your coworkers find out, because boy, what a way to be flagged as an egotistical maniac.
yeah, it's definitely not a good look. And yeah, it just is what it is. You know what's funny is that like in Dota, I won't speak for Owen, but I do think he is almost tired of doing finals. There is something overexposure is a thing, right? And if you keep on being seen over and over again, and you keep on doing like the biggest matches, like people may get tired of you at some point in time. They want to change. So it's funny how that works because like I remember several Owen Fogged versus Cat Blitz, where we're like, no, 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 you guys are the best cast. You guys should take the finals. You know, we would have that conversation whenever the tournament organizer doesn't actually do the schedule themselves, which I think is funny.
So what was Richard's take on the situation?
Well, I'll continue the story. So the semifinals day shows up, and everybody's like wondering like what exactly is the casting duo? What like DDK and Bardolph don't get it. Who's going to be doing the semifinals? And it turns out, first semifinal, Anders and Semler. Okay, legendary duo, great throwback. The CS:GO community, the subreddit, which is obviously the most elitist, like the people who are really in the know and really passionate about CS:GO. They have been flaming Semler quite a bit, and it actually becomes pretty interesting at some point in time. They've been really harsh with Semler. They see Anders and Semler, and some of them are okay with it, some of them are not. Whatever. They take some pot shots at Semler, and then second semifinal shows up. Oh, this looks egregious. Semler and Moses is the duo. Semler just did both the semifinals, and DDK and Bardolph don't get one at all? What the hell? That is a bad fucking look, right? And so the subreddit just explodes. People are angry. They're like, what the hell? People are calling like Semler all kinds of shit. They are throwing shit and smearing it all over a printed picture of him on the wall. They are doing everything they can to tear down this guy.
What for context? What did he do to get flamed in the first place? Like, is it just poor performance, or is it like lack of being around, or like what makes people mad? Because I'm assuming a lot of people are listening don't know. Okay.
There's game loyalty. So Semler at some point in time retired from CSGO and went to Overwatch League. And then at some point in time, he dropped Overwatch League and came back to CSGO. Two, he's oftentimes looked at as the play-by-play caster with the least knowledge. So kind of similar to like what people viewed Toby as, right? It was just like, oh, great play-by-play caster, but like the Dota elitists would always razz on him. Oh, he doesn't know shit about the game, shit like that, right? I think Semler is in a very similar position where I think he's viewed as the play-by-play caster that has the least knowledge, and he has been absent a bit, right? Like he hasn't been grinding all these online matches as much as the others have. So there's just a combination of factors here that make people go, this guy doesn't have it anymore. Even though I think the second semifinal that he did, he actually did great play-by-play. I think that his play-by-play was really on point. He did a great job. From a fellow play-by-play caster, I thought he was excellent. So that's just my own personal take on that. But so yeah, subreddit blows up, and there is just it was so mean, Joey. It was so mean.
Would you have described it as poorly moderated?
It's
a very subjective question.
Okay, let's put it this way. I've seen the same stuff go on the Dota 2 subreddit. Even very recently with Moxie. People being really, really mean. Being really, really mean doesn't get you banned, you know? Sometimes you have to be like sexist and racist or some shit, right? I'm presuming that's general moderation guidelines, right?
There's a line.
Okay, there's a line, but so grand finals happen. It's Machine and Sponge, which is the duo that seems like everybody prefers right now. They're the elite duo that is also really knowledgeable of the game. They're really on top of things, have been casting recent stuff. People are happy about that. After the event, Anders puts out a tweet. He put out two tweets. One apologizing for his performance at the semifinals, which again, I thought he did a great job. He did a really good job for the one semifinal that he casted. But he apologized for poor performance because he wasn't feeling so hot. And then another tweet later after the event where he actually tells people, hey, you guys should know Semler actually stood in for me for the other semifinal. It was supposed to be Anders and Moses. not Semler and Moses, but because Anders felt the implication he puts out there, because he felt so bad about the Bardolph situation, he wasn't really like feeling himself. Semler stood in for him. And, and all of a sudden, all of these people who had just been hating on Semler the entire time have pie on their face. Because they've just been giving this guy so much shit and being so mean and insulting. And it wasn't the guy's fault, per se. Like, Bardolph insinuates there's backroom politics that went into the semifinals decision. But Semler specifically for this decision, people had been making him out to be an egomaniacal mastermind behind the scene who used his political power to get himself to semifinals. And he actually was just standing in for his friend who didn't feel good.
He was just being a team player.
He was just being a team player. Yeah.
Oh man, what a what a bummer that something like this really like overshadows sentiment of like, you know, what is otherwise an exciting event. There was like really good Counter-Strike being played. People are excited about Na'Vi. It was the first major with a crowd in 2 years, and people are talking about like, you know, backstage drama, which like I get it that like big picture maybe it's more interesting because, you know, your favorite celebrities are fighting with each other. How interesting drama, but like, I'm sure PGL's not happy. Valve's not happy.
Probably not. But like, do you actually think it actually detracts from the broadcast?
Oh no, it adds to it. How much more exciting?
It does, right? It adds more drama and excitement. Like I was certainly more tuned in to the broadcast because I knew there was some talent drama going in. I wanted to know who was doing the semifinals, you know? So it is interesting the fact that, you know, I talked about the fact I wouldn't want to detract from the event and all, but it did add to the event. Sure, like it makes the entire it makes the entire talent situation look
at the cost of what?
Like immature.
You know?
Yeah, it does come at a cost, but it definitely created some intrigue and a little bit more spice and hype to it.
I don't know. I mean, we did spend time talking about it, and not just like on the podcast, right? Like we were conversing about it over the week that was happening. So
yeah,
it probably was net good for CSGO impressions, net bad for the mental health of everybody involved, and surely will have knock-on effects for hiring and interpersonal relationships and basically any land moving forward. Like, you know, this might be the last that we hear about this kerfuffle, but what you know is happening right now is there's WhatsApp conversations of people being upset about each other. There's tournament organizers who don't want to work with people. There's Valve who probably has an opinion on this stuff, you know? So any workplace has politics.
Yep.
Any workplace has politics, and you really gotta be keen to what's good for your future success.
Yeah. So I'll give my take on the situation. I do think it was kind of messed up. Sadicus and Moses, it looks like from the outside that they were supposed to do the other semifinal. There's 4 duos. Somebody's going to get cut. They chose DDK and Bardolph. I don't think that's unreasonable whatsoever. I do kind of view the situation where, like, this is the upside of being a part of a duo, is that you are, first of all, you're in a casting position. So casting, I think the casting position is almost universally in esports held as the best position, right? You know, unless you've got some sort of like show that's going on like inside the NBA or something like that, commentator is like the best position to hold. It's the highest prestige. Sometimes it's the most paid, depending on the esports scene. Sometimes it's the host that's the most paid. It's a good position to hold, right? It's a privileged position to hold. So that is part of the good part, the upside of having a duo. The other upside is that person's strengths is also your strengths, right? You as a brand together, you're 2 people, so you get twice the amount of fans. You know, there's some power there. The downside is, I think, to having a duo is that if the other person is not feeling it, the other person gets sick, whatever, you are naturally less valuable because you have tied yourself to this other person. So you do have to be careful about who you tie yourself with, right?
Sometimes your casting partner might get COVID during the middle of the biggest event of the year,
Yeah.
and then you're off the broadcast.
Yeah, like Kyle was on the receiving end of that. If you notice, you didn't see a whole lot of Kyle, and I'm pretty sure a big part of that was me getting COVID, right? He no longer has a casting partner. Why would you try and force other casting duos when you specifically had hired other people and they've already shown that they're the prime product and stuff like that? So I think there is just a natural a comparison to be made of the TI broadcast and the CSGO broadcast, where PGL and apparently Talent made this decision where they would put Moses with, granted, somebody he's casted with for a long, long time, Anders, and that they were going to basically have double Anders broadcasts instead of DDK and Bardolph. I personally think that's the incorrect decision. It sucks that Moses gets cut out in that regard. There's a lot of suggestions. Oh, maybe they could have done a TriCast, Anders, Semler, Moses. That's a classic. They've done finals and stuff like that before. And I think there were potential solutions to be made, but maybe it wasn't possible. But I just think that's just the way it is. If you're part of a duo, you sorry, you're shit out of luck. Like, you missed out on your semifinal. DDK and Bardolph are going to play. That's what I would have done as a tournament organizer, because I know I have this polished product that was not going to get a semifinal slot, and I'm going to put them into that spot now that we're missing one of the duos. That I still think that situation is a little suspect, even though it ends with like Bardolph looking a bit foolish and like Semler being redeemed and stuff like that. I personally don't agree with the decision.
If I'm fantasy booking this situation, I'm doing Bardolph DDK one semifinal, Machine the other semifinal, and a TriCast grand final.
Okay, you could do that, but I know that like general CSGO sentiment would be against that. The subreddit sentiment would be way more for Machine and Sponge. They're like very highly regarded right now. They're in their like really hype. Every duo gets their cycle of like, and they're in their peak right now. Because they've done their dues for online casting. They're great casters. Machine is a wonderful play-by-play. He's just talented all around.
Machine's just talented. He's worked in a high position in Machine's one of the very few people who've worked in a high position in like, Dota, League, Counter-Strike. Not many people can say that. He can.
Yeah. He's got it all. So I would say TriCast for semifinal, but either way, I just don't really agree with that decision. I do think DDK and Bardolph have some ground to stand on to be a bit mad. There, funny enough, was a picture put out of all the talent post-event all hanging out together. They posed for a picture. Bardolph was missing from that picture. DDK was there, but Bardolph was the only talent missing.
Well, DDK has to go to that
picture.
event to be like, "Hey guys, Bardolph, real like fuck that guy." Am I right? Or like, whew, like he's
I'm so sorry about him.
Hey, like I know that we're like partners, and I can't apologize for him, but like I understand. Like, please don't hate me. Like I'm sure that there was a non-zero amount of that happening for good reason, because someone has to say sorry.
And he's also less invested, right? Bardolph is, I know he's doing some like Apex Legends stuff, but he seems to be still committed to CSGO, whereas DDK has probably a very promising future as one of the top Valorant commentators. So, there's also the fact that he probably just cares less, a lot less, because he's already moved on in many ways. So, yeah. Richard Lewis put out a tweet, which I was personally expecting, and I'm still expecting that they're going to do their podcast to them, Lewis and Thorne, and they're going to throw some shade around. And it's going to be real spicy. But he
brain
put out
cells
a tweet.
across the galaxy will be lost to anyone listening. But I mean, go on.
Man, you really hate them, don't you?
I don't hate them. I think that there's like.
Did you just take the opportunity to throw a shot every single time their name comes up?
Thorne's not awesome.
Anyway, Richard Lewis put out a tweet that I actually wholeheartedly agree with, and I was a little bit surprised. But he said, didn't tweet during the event, as the cardinal sin is to let bullshit spill into the broadcast, something that lasts forever and must always be treated as if it were sacred. This was a very challenging event for everyone involved. We'll doubtlessly talk about that later. Turns out that 4 people were having some personal issues, one of which was pretty public. James Bank, the interviewer, had his. I'm still not
Mom.
sure. No, it was either his ex-wife, wife, or girlfriend. She passed away. So that was condolences to him, man. That's such. I don't know. That is such a crazy thing to happen that young, and like he's got a young kid and everything. So he actually stopped midway through the event, went to the funeral, and still came back in time for the finals. So he kept working as much as he could, which think takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to pull off something like that. So at least one of those accounts was pretty public, and apparently there was another 3 other people having some personal issues. Um, but yeah, they that he goes on to say, personally, I think everyone crushed the event, especially the debutantes. There was 2 new people, I believe 2 new people who had never done a major before on the panel. He gives them some love, and yeah, and so that's the tweet that like I really agree with is the fact that I do think it's a bit of a cardinal sin to let your own personal drama and stuff into the broadcast. I remember one of the only times that Blitz and I have ever had a fight. We got into a fight right before we went live at MLG. I think it was like the first MLG Columbus. Um, and no, it was actually the third one where there was like Smash Brothers and all kinds of things there. And we got into a fight right before the broadcast. And we still managed to do a great cast, I think. I don't think there was any there was tension, but I don't think you could tell on the cast. You know, we put aside our bullshit
No
and
cap.
managed to make
Of
it work.
course, Desolator procs in the first hit. You fucking idiot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I fully agree that I think that is something that you should not do. But
When
I'm
you're an
also someone who
entertainer,
values professionalism. So
when you're an entertainer, like when you're an entertainer, because it's ultimately what casters are. You're there to like be the person. You're the voice. You're on the show.
mhm.
There's a level of like needing to pull away the personal because you're there for the product. And yes,
Yeah.
people are there for you. People are there because they like Cap, they like Blitz, they like Anders, right? Like there, you have fans that are coming, but ultimately, like you're there for the tournament and the players and the show, and you need to be able to separate like your personal bullshit, which means that I also agree with that Richard Lewis tweet. So I mean, I guess they do come around every now and then. But I totally agree that if there's stuff going real south. Personally, if you get COVID during an event, if you're having a tragedy, if you're having some drama backstage, like I would have the expectation from like the tournament side or the broadcast side that the professionalism dictates that like you need to do the show. The show must go on. That's what it comes down to, right? Like it's as simple as that adage of the show must go on. The show is bigger than any one person on the broadcast.
Yeah. And I think one note about this is I'm sure some people will probably try and pick this apart. I think professionalism means that you do not bring this bullshit into the broadcast in a spiteful way. If this sort of stuff becomes public and you make a joke of it, not like a joke of the situation, something that people would generally appreciate and get a laugh at, that is still entertainment. And I think that is okay. But I think this situation was obviously spiteful, and it was not there to get a laugh out of anybody. It was just there. If you're poking fun at a situation, I think that's fair game, because you're like, if you do it in a lighthearted way, you're going to get the audience to laugh. And I think, again, this is the entertainment industry, so I think part of being professional is making the audience entertained. So I think there's a right way to tackle like drama and stuff like that, and there's some wrong way. So yeah, that's the CSGO Major drama wrapped up in a pretty bow, though I'm sure there's still going to be some fallout from this.
I'm interested in the follow. I wish that I knew more CS:GO people just so I could like be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just say you got any download information? I'm just curious. How's things going? How people?
It just reminded me. I'm also very happy with working with the other Dota 2 talent. It was just I can't imagine have that kind of animosity. Like I'm somebody who generally I want people to get along, right? I'm the mediator at heart. I don't want people to I don't want awkward tensions and shit like that. I want people to be happy and getting along together. So I would hate that kind of animosity going on. That would be annoying for me.
So to bookend and relate it back to the beginning of the episode, Dota, best esport, clearly.
Best esport, baby.
It's not even close to a competition. I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to say goodbye.
Okay. Sounds good. I also have to pee. We're going to go pee, everybody. You should also go pee because you should have been drinking water.
Please drink some water. Please go to the bathroom. If you do not go to the bathroom, contact your doctor. And if you don't have a doctor, then I guess it's just the reality of the situation. Next week I am going to Texas for the esports awards. Which is interesting. I'm getting my COVID booster. And I am going to get on another airplane, and I think I'm going to do the show remotely, potentially, from a hotel room. So that's something fun to look forward to, and that's all I got.
Okay, I got nothing going on. I'm just gonna be streaming playing Dota. Check that out. Twitch.tv Capcast.
Join the Discord. Join the Discord. We have fun conversations in there. I am somewhat active. Cap is pretty active. And check out the stream.
One last shout out. Subscribe to the Arkosh YouTube. It doesn't have a video, but by the time you're listening to this, it may have a video. Please subscribe to it. If you subscribe to it, it helps us a lot. It's good. There's some funny stuff there. I promise. It's gonna be good.
I have another one. This is for the super fans who listened all the way to the literal end because you probably can't turn your podcast off right now. In the very near future, the TI-10 compendium chests, the ones that you get from like rewards points for predictions, are gonna become giftable and marketable. I have opened 26 of them on my own accord from fantasy points and from predictions with the goal of getting that goddamn Luna set. That I like playing Luna. I like playing Luna, and I think
You're seriously crowdsourcing your fucking Luna set now.
No. Yes, actually I lied. I'm not saying yes I am. I've opened 26 of them, and I have not opened one. I think that I need like less than 10 more, maybe even one if the odds are in my favor. If you have leftover TI-10 chests for the compendium that you're willing to donate, just let me know. Hit me up on the Discord, and you know what? I'll I don't know, Venmo you or say thank you or draw an MS Paint drawing of your mom or whatever you want. But I'm looking for more chests. Maybe they need a good a holiday gift for their mother and they would want to commission custom artwork. You know, got to think
Be
ahead.
careful, guys. Joey's just trying to get pictures of your moms.
I'm not doing that, but what I am trying to do.
I need a reference.
What I'm trying to do is get that Luna set, and if anybody will help me, I will absolutely shamelessly take the help. That's really it. See you next week.